Welcome to Bleav in Arizona State, episode 29, Evan. Just 29 episodes in. Obviously, we want to wish you guys a happy holidays. This is very exciting. Obviously, 29 episodes in. Never thought that we'd be still doing this, but obviously enjoying the hell out of it. Obviously, doing it with my best friend. But listen, Evan, I was thinking about this just a little bit. This is like a holiday special episode because we're going to post this tomorrow. And in order to make this special, we got to bring on a special guy. And a guy, in my opinion, who has a big reason to do with Arizona State's success this season, as they will be playing in the Peach Bowl New Year's Day against Texas. This is the first episode we are doing post that result. Special teams coordinator, assistant head coach of Arizona State football, Coach Charlie Ragle. Coach, how you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. How are you guys?
We're good. It's an exciting time, and it's been really fun to be able to do this podcast this year. And so I'm excited. We're excited to have you on. Thank you so much for coming on, Coach. We'll get right into this. I think this is definitely our most anticipated interview. Thanks so much for doing it.
Oh, my pleasure. And again, thanks for having me.
Absolutely, Coach. Well, listen, let's just start off with the basics. Obviously, this team playing in the Peach Bowl New Year's Day. Just from your perspective, how have you seen this team grow? And also just talk to me a little bit about the preparation. You guys have had some time off. Obviously, now you know your opponent. You guys are playing Texas. Talk to me about the preparation and just how you've seen this team grow.
Yeah, I just think that, from the very beginning, this team has come together in terms of how they work, how they go about their work, a true commitment to each other. I think you've seen this team, both physically and mentally mature over the course of 4 months. And I think it's a team that genuinely, has an affection for one another. And I think that when you have a team that cares about each other and plays for each other, you end up with the results that we've had this season. As far as, preparation, obviously, we've had some downtime and the players have had some time off, but we've cranked it back up with 3 practices last week. We've got a walkthrough here later this evening, and then we'll have one really good physical practice here tomorrow before we take Christmas Day off.
Yeah, Coach, I wanted to talk about that a little bit more as well. Everybody always has that conversation of when you're hot and you're playing great football like you guys were at the end of the year, and you get that break. Yes, it's time to get healthy, but some people think you can lose your momentum in that time. How have you guys been able to take that break but continue to stay prepared as you go into the Peach Bowl?
Yeah, I think it's a great point, and I think it's a a fine line of how do you prepare, how do you get rested, but yet stay with that edge, so to speak. And so I think we've done a nice job of that. I think Coach Dillingham has done a really good job of managing it and giving the players a week off right when we got done, and then coming back and going one on, one off, practice, and then a lift and a run, a practice, a lift and a run. I think those are the things that have allowed us to stay sharp, but yet, get our bodies back, so to speak. And then we've done some things, some good on good stuff to compete and really get the guys trying to, continue to play at a high level.
Coach, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about Kenny Dillingham as you just brought him up. Obviously, you have an amazing relationship with him, coaching him back at Chaparral when he was a quarterback. Just talk to me about what's it like to work with him, especially you being a part of that first staff that he brought on at Arizona State, and just the overall relationship that you've had that has spanned for such a long time.
It's special for sure. Obviously, knowing him like I do and as long as I have, and watching him grow and, putting it all together in a season like this, it's I would be remiss if I didn't say, that it is a special time, not only for our team, but for me personally to watch that and watch him. And it's exciting. And, looking forward to taking that and moving forward as we get into the Peach Bowl on January 1.
Coach, I want to get into kind of a personal question for you. Obviously coached some high-level high school football in the area for such a long time, and then you make the transition to college football. How have you seen the differences in college football, and what kind of differences do you see on a day-to-day from coaching at the high school level to coaching now at one of the biggest programs kind of in the country?
Well, I think first of all, when I got into coaching college football and where it was, 15 years ago to where it is now, it's completely different with the transfer portal and the way things are moving and shaking. So it is that from that standpoint is different. When you talk about high school and college, you're dealing with a younger athlete trying to figure out just their skill set and where they're going to play. And then once, you get into the latter years of your high school career, kind of figuring it out. And then if they have the ability to play beyond high school, recognizing that and then helping them develop and grow to that potential. When they get to this level, obviously they've been pretty good for at least a little while. But then there's another transition phase when you get to this level. Now, I think, the one thing you're seeing is less high school kids sign and more transfer portal kids sign. So it's a unique balance. And you certainly, I've seen quite a array of different talent levels on the spectrum based off of, years of experience. And so it certainly has made for a challenge, especially in these last, 3 or 4 years.
Coach, I just wanted to talk to you about one of those athletes that you coached. And this is a guy that I have seen as a journalist myself, just really put a positive spin on the social media era as an athlete. And that's Taylor Lewan. Obviously, you played such a key role in his development. I know that you transitioned him from a nose tackle to obviously the offensive tackle and the great offensive tackle that he was in the NFL, and especially rise up against a 1.6 GPA. I got to ask you, what was it like coaching him and just to see his growth as not only a player, but a person, especially, in my opinion, with the platform and Busting the Boys that he's built in this social media era as an athlete?
Yeah, it's awesome to see. Those are the things that you take great pride in your career, is taking a kid like that. And as you mentioned, was not the best student in the world. And, working with him to understand, hey, like, this is something that if you really want to go to the next level, this is what you've got to do. The one, it was awesome to coach him because he played what you see off the field, like in the terms of just his energy and his passion. He played that way. And so it's hard not to want to coach a guy that has that kind of passion for the game, let alone life. And, we just instantly hit it off. And the one thing I appreciate about Taylor is he never forgets where he comes from. And he's a special individual. And, it's a blessing for me to have been able to coach him and to this day can continue to have a relationship with him.
Coach, I would be remiss not to ask about special teams this year as a whole, but some things I want to get into specifically. This year we saw the fake punt, which was real fun, got you guys a first down, and obviously the huge onside kick against BYU. I'm interested to know, is that something that you guys see on film during the week in preparation and know, hey, we can take advantage of this in this situation, or is that a feel thing in the game? You go up 14-0 on BYU. You just want to keep the momentum and try and go onside.
No, it's a combination. I think one, obviously the film study is going to give you a great idea of whether or not you can execute something like that, whether it be a blocked punt, whether it be a fake field goal, whether it be in this case, they're talking about the onside kick. That was something that we looked at. We thought that the potential to have that, what we would call their left guard, when we approached, he was always sliding what would be to our right. We knew that there would be a shot that when we hit that it would have a chance to hit him. And so it was a situation where we went up. We weren't necessarily going right at him, but we knew that based off the film study that was a real possibility. And it worked out exactly, how we thought it could potentially play out. And so it certainly took a bounce for the good guys, for sure.
Is that one when you call it, you get a little amped up on the sideline, you're excited, you know what's about to happen? That's one I'm assuming, like, even before it goes, you get pretty pumped up for, huh?
Well, it's, I've been doing this long enough to know that sometimes it doesn't go the way you draw it up. So it's kind of just let's temper the emotions and see how this thing plays out. Don't get too high, don't get too low. But that was certainly a great moment after it played out the way it did, for sure.
And those moments have just been one of many for this Arizona State football team. I just wanted to ask you, aside from just special teams and whatnot, when did you see just kind of the coaching staff, or just obviously you guys are preaching this before the season, but just we've been asking, we've had a lot of guests on, more than anybody. when did you really see the tide start to turn? When did you really see like, okay, this is a different team and has obviously led you to where you guys are playing in the Peach Bowl?
Well, I think there's two things. I think one, when we were at Camp T and how hard these guys would practice and like back-to-back days, and they weren't scared of the ability to go work. So that was something that stood out, I think, to all of us as a staff. We're like, like these guys are built different. And then I think when we got down, first road game, still a bunch of new faces on the road at Texas State. And we're down and we're like, oh man, I mean, like it's a unique environment going over there and playing there. There was nobody, griping at one another, nobody calling. The guys stayed the course and we found a way to win the game. And that's when I think like, oh, okay, this is a different team. And I think as that happened, we continued to build from that. But those were two things in my mind that stood out, that this team had a chance to do something different.
Coach, that kind of gets me right into my next question and the response part of this team. You talked about the Texas State game. They're down 21-7. They end up coming back in that one. You've seen an array of extremely talented, awesome, winning football teams. How does this Arizona State team's culture compare to some of those other championship teams you've been a part of?
I think it'll be up there with, right at the top. When we look back on it, it's one of those deals, right? What I tell people is like, we're in the middle of it right now. So sometimes you get so deep in the forest, you can't see the trees, right? And that's kind of where we are, right? It's been a long season. We're grinding through this. We're going into the quarterfinals on January 1st. We started this thing late July. Like, it's a grind. Obviously, a good grind to be a part of, 100% for sure. But I think it's one of those things, you're so deep in it right now. When the dust settles and we walk away from this season, wherever that is, we will look back and really have an appreciation for what we've accomplished. And obviously, we know that's something really special.
Coach, I got one more for you, and I know Evan does. Once again, we have Charlie Ragle on Bleav in Arizona State, our holiday special for you guys. Coach, I just want to ask you a little more of a personal question because I feel like I definitely relate to you in this regard. I think you've been known as a motivator, a guy that's never put in park and always go. And I think I've had to understand that with this podcast. Evan can relate to that as well. You drive for success wherever you go, and I say that honestly. How do you maintain that drive? And I think just for the listeners, what advice do you give to those that want that same mindset or trying to keep that mindset as well?
I think it starts, well, I appreciate you saying that, first of all. And I think that it starts with, having a passion for something. When you pursue something that you have a passion for, I think that the word energy gets used a lot, but, energy is what they put in a battery and eventually the battery, runs out. And even the ones that they say are rechargeable, they ultimately run out. And, I think a passion is a lit flame within you that never dies. And sometimes the flame may not burn as bright and you have to refocus, but the passion never dies. And I think that that's something that my father instilled in me a long time ago, is that when you go to pursue a career, pursue something that you love and have a passion for, because if you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Coach, I will finish on for me. I have to ask, with the upcoming Peach Bowl, you guys now know you're playing Texas. So I'll start with, was that one as a staff you guys got together and were able to watch as a group? And second, have you guys been preparing prior for both teams prior to the game? And what does your preparation look like now that you know who you're playing in the Peach Bowl?
Yeah, well, I'll answer the second part first. We obviously we had broke down both teams and had looked over the last, week and a half at both opponents, just getting to familiarize ourselves with who we could potentially play. Obviously, we knew we were playing one or the other. And then once we had guys in here during the Saturday during the game, like portal recruits and stuff. So it wasn't something that we all sat down and watched together, but, we all watched it individually and knew obviously after the game that, hey, Texas is who we were going to play. And guys were in here, our quality control people were in here after the game, breaking that down. And so when we came in on Sunday morning, we went right to it. So we've had 2 days of good film study and preparation, aside from the stuff that we'd done prior to. So we're well into our preparation for Texas. And like I said, we're going to get into a walk. We had some meetings this morning, and then we'll get into a walk through tonight, and then we'll come back with a hefty practice tomorrow morning as well.
Coach, appreciate you once again coming on Bleav in ASU.
Absolutely.
I'm excited for the Peach Bowl. I know Evan is. I know all Arizona State fans are, and what the future of this program holds. I'll see you at the Peach Bowl. It's definitely going to be fun, definitely going to be exciting. Appreciate you once again, Coach. This is Charlie Ragle on Bleav in Arizona State. I'm your host, Brandon Clark. Alongside me, Evan Reiser. Forks up.
Appreciate
Thanks,
you, guys.
Coach.
Go Devils.